Hey, it's me, AP, aka Mr. Movie Cheer, and welcome back to another video. And on this video, it's a bit of a different one. It's a bit of an update on a challenge I'm doing, a movie challenge. So I've decided to do this 31 days of horror movies over October in the lead up to Halloween. I've seen other people do it over the past few years. My buddy Ben, aka Rider Rated 18, he did it past few years. I've really enjoyed seeing his sort of like his verdict on him sharing his movies over the years when he's done the challenge. And I thought, this year I'm going to do it as a challenge. First of all, for one reason, to give me the challenge to watch a few more movies all over October. Secondly, to watch some horror movies that I've never watched before, and just Halloween movies as well. And it's just Halloween. I thought I think it's a fun challenge as well to do. This October challenge of 31 horror movies, one movie every single day. So I'm up to day 5 now. It's October the 5th, and it's going well so far. So I'm just gonna run through some of the movies I've watched. Not gonna be going full detail with them, but just kind of give you an update where I'm up to. What I will say, if you're new to the channel, my threshold for horror and blood is very low. I'm not a big horror guy. Admittedly, I've not watched a lot of classic horror movies probably out there that a lot of people enjoy. So this is a challenge for me to do this over October. I'm not a big horror fan. I get really squeamish around blood. And I will get to that. There was a failure today on the horror movie front. But yeah, I'm trying to, anything that's horror movie related, it can be comedy horror, what I'm watching. It's got to be a horror movie, I feel, or a spooky movie. Something in the horror genre or a horror spin-off subgenre. So I started off with day 1 with World War Z, or World War Z if you're American. And this is a Brad Pitt movie, and it's basically a zombie apocalypse movie. And he is this guy who's like sent by the UN, the United Nations, to try and research the origin of this virus that's taken over the world, this zombie virus. And I thought it was a really good movie. One I've heard about over the years on the channel, and I just never got around to watching it, and one I was looking forward to seeing. And this is my kind of jam, because it kind of feels like a bit like, this mix of like science fiction mixed in with horror in there. It's like a Dawn of the Dead. I very much compare it to like it was like something that would very much be set in like the Dawn of the Dead universe. It's got that feel to it. They're movies I do like. I do like zombie movies, vampire movies. Them ones I can handle. And for me, it's like stuff like Saw, anything like Exorcist. I can't handle that sort of stuff. It's too much for me. But World War Z, I thought it was a really good movie, and I've said it to a few people. I feel like as a movie, it has been spoke about to do a sequel for years now. We've never seen a sequel for this movie, but it does feel like it was a bit of a missed opportunity that they didn't do a sequel to this film. I thought it was really good, really enjoyed it. The next movie I watched on day 2, I watched The Purge. First time watch for me again, like World War Z. Really enjoyable, and I was a bit worried by this one. I thought maybe this might be a bit too violent for me, a bit too blood and gore. But it's a really solid movie. I like the cast. I can't think of his name now. It's the guy who's in like the Black Phone. Oh man, what is his name? And thingy, is it Lena Headey? One who's in Game of Thrones. How bad's that? I'm awful with my notes. I always put the notes down. It's the guy who like I say, he's in the Black Phone. His name's Ethan Hawke. That's it. He's in this. He plays like it's this family in this house, and once a year, in this dystopian future, they have this law where people can go out and kill each other, and it's legal for like 12 hours, I think, 6 or 12 hours. And this family's like in a secure quarters. They think it's all safe, and then obviously it turns out it's not as safe as they think it is. And I've seen the parodies on like Rick and Morty before, so I kind of like knew the concept, but I didn't know whether I could handle it. And it wasn't too heavy for me to handle in regards of blood and gore. I thought it was like a pretty like middle of the road for me, which I can handle like a Scream, like The Thing, stuff like that. There's certain levels I can, like Lost Boys. Then it goes into a different level where I'm like, I'm out. I'm out of this party. But The Purge, I really enjoyed it. I know there's been several sequels to this. I would very much like to see the sequels. I think it's something, now that I know I can handle that particular series from the first entry anyway, I'd be interested to watch the sequels. I'd be interested to know what everyone else thinks of those sequels as well. Are they any good? Are they just as good as the first one? I think the first one is a solid movie, absolutely solid movie. Third day, Shaun of the Dead. 20 years old this year, and I will just say with these updates, I'm putting them on YouTube, each movie every day that I'm watching, and I'm putting them on Instagram as well if you want to follow along on that, as well as doing these other updates, see how we go. But Shaun of the Dead, 20 years old this year, which is surreal to me. It's 20 years old seems bizarre for Shaun of the Dead. Such a great movie. I remember the advert. I remember it on like where I am in the UK. We have so we have like I can't remember what it was on. I think it might have been, I think I was going to say it was going to be Granada News, ITV Granada, on the news 20 years ago when it came out. But I think it would have probably been BBC News. Sorry, it would have been just like the global news, like rather than just local news, because it obviously this film. But I remember it coming out and being on the news of like the release of the movie years ago, Shaun of the Dead, and I remember then it coming out, and then I don't think I watched it instantly. Maybe when it came out on DVD or something, or I don't think I watched it at the cinema. But such a funny movie, and after that I ended up watching Hot Fuzz and obviously World's End. I'm watching more of like Simon Pegg. His stuff is brilliant. I like him and Nick Frost. I like the director, Edgar Wright. I think he's a brilliant director. And it is just such a really well-directed movie. The cinematography of it's so cool. Like I think just the foretelling of certain scenes as well. If you're watching the movie where it's like, like he says to someone, "You're dead," to the kid at the start, and then 10 minutes later, the kid's dead. It's like there's loads of scenes in that movie. If you watch it, the foreshadowing for future moments in the movie, it really is really cool. I love it. Great movie, never gets old, that film. Fourth film, which I watched yesterday, which was The Crazies, which is a remake apparently of a 70s movie I've never seen. I always think of The Crazies, I think it's a Gary Newman song, when he was in Tube Boy Army. I think he did a song called The Crazies. Whether it was inspired by that, I do not know. Maybe it was. This is a 2010 remake. Timothy Olyphant, not Timothy Olyphant. He stars in this movie. It's a fun movie. It's not a fun movie. It's definitely not a fun movie for sure. It's not a comedy, guys. The Crazies basically is like a mix of a science fiction horror movie, and it's a really good movie. Basically, this town gets infected by this biological weapon, and then it turns people into these like crazies, what you call them here. And they become like zombie-like, but not full-on zombie. They're kind of still a bit aware, but they're just basically crazy, and they end up killing people. And it's a government, cover-up basically. Reminded me a bit of like a Fringe vibe. So, it could have been an episode of the TV show Fringe or X-Files. But yeah, it's a good story, and it's basically just like this family, the sheriff and local doctor, this couple, they need to escape the town, try and survive. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good movie. And just kind of like, I feel like I just really went past Shaun of the Dead a bit too quick there. Just want to just say again, Shaun of the Dead, such a classic movie, a cult classic now. Not even a cult classic, just a classic movie. It's just a classic movie. I feel like I just kind of didn't give the light to Shaun of the Dead as much as it deserved, because it is such a cool movie, still very enjoyable, a great overall movie, and it's still one I can just go back to and enjoy, and every time, fantastic, superb film. Now let's get to day 5. Today I have watched a movie that The Crazies was a new watch for me, but this is one that I have watched before, and it is Resident Evil, the first Resident Evil movie based on the video games. I think the first one it doesn't feel like it's set on the video games too much. I remember enjoying a few of these, and I've watched a couple of these over the years. Good few years back now, though. I was kind of getting a lot of this confused with the movie Doom. Do you know remember that movie with The Rock in? And it was awful, if I remember it rightly. But certain things I was thinking that were part of the movie Doom, like the bit with the lasers, what like cut through people. I thought that was part of Doom. Maybe Doom do something similar. I don't know. I'll have to rewatch that maybe. But I really enjoyed this, if I'm being honest. I really like this movie. I thought it was a really good movie. I think I think it's one of them, if you're really attached to the video games, you might not enjoy it as much. I remember the video games. I really, memories from the video games for me, because I'm not, again, because I've never been a big horror guy. And even as a kid, my dad used to play the video games, and I used to watch them on the PlayStation. He used to play the PlayStation 1, the original one. I used to play all the Resident Evil games and Dino Crisis and stuff like that. And I remember as a kid, I wouldn't have the guts to play them, but I would always just watch him playing them. It was like my version of like the 90s, early 2000s version of watch-alongs. Me just watching along, watching my dad play these games, and it was good. And like I said, never played them full on really, these games, because I was too scared of them. But I really enjoy this movie, although it is different from the games. I don't know, I can't remember the sequels maybe feel a bit more in contact with the games a bit more. But yeah, I liked it. I thought it was a really good movie, some good action scenes throughout. And yeah, great, fun, I was going to say a word again, fun. Like I said, none of these are fun, apart from Shaun of the Dead, which is fun. But yeah, I will say one failure though. I wanted to kind of like mention this briefly at the start. One failure in this, like I said, I'm not a big fan of blood and guts. My threshold for horror movie is very low. My threshold, so what I mean by that, I can't watch certain ones. I can't stomach it physically. It's like an anxiety. It really is like an anxiety. It's pretty weird. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that though with horror movies. If you just really are, I just find it hard to watch and feel very uncomfortable when I see blood. Certain like really, I suppose supernatural stuff can really scare me sometimes as well. And I watched today, tried to watch it, Hellraiser. First of all, I didn't realise it was a British movie. I thought it was an American movie. Didn't realise it was a British movie. And I watched about 20 minutes of it, and it looked interesting, and it looked like something I might like. But I got to 20 minutes in, and there was some scenes about 5-10 minutes in that I couldn't stomach. And I got through it, and I thought, maybe I can push through. And it got to this certain scene, and it was in this house, and then there was like loads of blood, and there was this like reincarnation of something, some character, and I couldn't handle it. I really just couldn't handle it, and I'm fully aware it was all, it's not even CGI. It's like proper physical effects, and it is quite amazing to see. It's just all these, you can see the effects being made, but I really just couldn't stomach it, and that is where that anxiety of horror comes in for me, and that's when my threshold just hits it, and I was like, I can't watch anymore. I wasn't enjoying the movie because I was feeling very uneasy watching it. And it's so weird, and let me know if you feel that way with horror movies, or if there's, maybe you've got a higher threshold than me. Let me know what movies are like the point where you feel that way, because I was like, I'm out, and it's a shame, but I can't. If you can't watch a certain movie, you can't watch it. Everyone's got the likes, the dislikes, and for me, it's not a case of disliking it. It's just I can't physically watch it. I just find it very uncomfortable. But I'm gonna get through it. So I'm on day 5 now. 5 days in. Will I get to the end? Like I said, I think there's definitely a lot of movies out there I can watch, which is great, and I know my limits with horror. But there is plenty of horrors out there that I can watch and I can enjoy, and I am going to complete this 31 days of horror. Let me know if you're doing this challenge as well. What movies are you watching so far? Which ones have you got planned in the lead up to Halloween? Which one's going to be your Halloween night movie? I want to know all your thoughts, ladies and gents. Thank you very, very much for watching this episode today. If you enjoyed it, please do give it a like and subscribe to the channel, and let me know your thoughts on all of these movies I have been watching so far on the 31 Days of Horror Challenge. Remember to spread a bit of movie cheer, everyone, and as always, I will see you next time.